What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan. So I got an email this morning, and it's an email that I get a lot, basically asking, to experiment with trying to find certain nootropics that stack well with other nootropics. Am I wasting my money? Am I wasting my money doing that experimentation? Right? That people have the idea that spending money on nootropics and then experimenting to find out what works is a waste of money. It comes from a particular way of thinking, like a philosophical framework about life that kind of goes like this. I need to know exactly how something is going to work before I do it. I need to have it all mapped out. I've got to have point A to point B fully understood, and all the details in between understood. That is a way of thinking that usually prevents people from trying things, right? That they actually determine in their head that they know the answer to something, or that they think it isn't worth it to do something when folks run through that exercise. It's really an exercise in limitation is what it is. Specifically breaking it down to things that are applicable or relevant to nootropics, you must understand that nootropics in general, and then getting down to specific compounds like racetams, modafinil, tyrosine, phenylalanine, these compounds are not guaranteed to do anything for you. They're not guaranteed to improve your cognition. They're not guaranteed to make you function better. They're not guaranteed to make you more motivated, because each individual compound, as it relates to those states, is highly dependent on your dose, right? What cofactors you have along with it, what your general health and baseline is like, what your neurotransmitter profile is like, what your diet is like, what your sleep is like, if you're a guy, what your testosterone is like, and a bunch of other factors, right? So it's important for people to know that venturing into nootropics is a journey of learning. It's a journey of learning. And in the end, you either have someone who is specialized in nootropics consult you on it all along the process, and then you'll leave that having gotten a lot of results and then knowing exactly how to navigate the world of cognitive performance enhancement. Or you take that responsibility on yourself and engage in the journey of constant self-experimentation, lots of reading and educating yourself, and just sort of a continuous cycle of that process. What's interesting about nootropics is that people need to do more educating themselves and understanding mechanisms specifically and what exactly is happening at a granular level in terms of neurotransmission with nootropics more than anything else, right? Nootropics are not like the 5-hour energy drink. Okay, I'm going to go spend $3.50 at a local gas station at this energy drink that's supposed to give me energy. I'm going to take it, no questions asked, I'm going to have energy, and I'm going to go on with my day. That's not what nootropics are like, nor are nootropics like coffee, where you just sort of know that for most folks, you're going to get a wakefulness, kind of energy, mild dopamine release feeling where you want to get to work, wake up, and do stuff. Nootropics are not like alcohol, where you pretty much know that whether it's wine, beer, or liquor, that you're going to get a relaxed feeling, sometimes an energetic feeling, and that you will be, generally disinhibited and feel good. It's just not that way. So, when folks go down the road of experimenting, in some sense, you will waste money, because you'll spend money on powders that ultimately you can't make work for you. Just because, in cases of being a cholinergically dominant person, you're going to respond better to energy-based nootropics, non-neurotransmitter modifying nootropics, and or dopaminergic-centered nootropics. But you have to know in order to reach that point. And the only way you know is through the experimentation of spending, $20 on, a jar of phenylpiracetam as an example, and seeing if you respond well to it. Trying everything. A lot of experimentation. Adding cofactors. Optimizing your baseline to respond to it. You've got to exhaust all options to respond to something. And then you can conclude that you're just never going to respond to it. And sometimes that is the case. Most of the time, you can get yourself to respond to things. You just have to be doing it right. It's a whole world of educating yourself and doing a lot of experimentation. Nootropics doesn't fall into biohacking just because someone put it in there. Biohacking is constant experimentation to learn about your physiology. It's taking the power and the control essentially out of, your doctor's hands. Because what can they really do for you? I mean, let's be honest. And putting it into your hands. Before I got into biohacking many, many years ago, I had this daunting idea about looking at my own physiology. I would look at doctors or people who understand their own physiology, man, and think to myself, there's just a lot, way too much to learn, to understand how to fix myself. So I'm just going to stick with meditating. And everything else, will kind of fall in place or something. Wrong answer. And that was a daunting outlook. But then when I started to learn and understand things and get into neurotransmitters and general brain physiology and understand how it all worked and experiment with things and see the results and notate those results and keep pushing down that route, even though I would get frustrated and not understand and sometimes even want to give up in learning it all. Eventually I got to the place where, I know a lot about physiology and my own physiology particularly. A place where I fixed issues that my doctors at the VA could not fix and could not offer me advice on. So the place that, if there's anything that ever becomes wrong in my general functionality, physiologically, I can fix it. And if there's ever a place where I feel like there's a deficit in cognitive function or otherwise function, sexual function, any kind of function, I know how to fix it. Okay? So that was a big, long kind of, potentially a lecture, but an explanation of the idea of spending money on nootropics. You're going to. It's not a waste of money to experiment and understand your body. It is not a waste of money. You're not going to waste money. You will spend money to learn, and that's the critical thing to keep in mind. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm out here in the woods. And just wanted to do this video because, I got an email, and frankly, I get that email all the time. I'm thinking about doing this or this or this. Am I wasting my money on it? The answer is no. You're not wasting your money on it. You need to spend to learn. That's just how it goes. Because you could spend $5 on a 5-hour energy drink, and it makes you too stimulated. And you'll think you wasted your money. Really, you didn't. You understood that, you came to understand that tyrosine makes you a little jittery and overstimulated, and it might not be a good nootropic to keep in the mix. A lot of 5-hour energy actually has tyrosine in it. Thanks so much for watching. Hope that makes sense, guys. Remember, 20% off everything at livecortex.com. Still, we know folks are a little apprehensive to spend money, so use the coupon code 20 and get 20% off everything. That is the Cortex stack. Great stack to have for motivation, mental energy, general cognitive performance. If you want to get stuff done, Cortex stack is a great stack to take. 20% off livecortex.com. As I've been saying, now is the best time to up your game and knowledge on nootropics, okay? People want to do experimentation on their own, and you should. But at the same time, you should have a structure and a framework and guidance. The Nootropics Masterclass gives you that. If you're already in the game for a year or two and you want to take your level kind of the 6-year mark, the Masterclass, people do things differently at that level. You have to watch the video course, Nootropics Masterclass. Also 20% off using the coupon code 20 if you're brand new to nootropics. Talk about framework to start. Nootropics Ground Zero. Video course intended to take you from ground zero to the 3-year mark. We'll give you the structural framework for how to use nootropics. All your questions answered. Stacks inside, how to cycle, how to think about formulating stacks, how to adjust them. A lot else in between. 20% off right now at livecortex.com. Last thing, if you are suffering from either PSSD, post-Adderall, kind of lowered dopaminergic function where you really can't get yourself to function without the use of dopamine agents or stimulants, Or if you generally just need long-term nootropics and brain performance help over the course of a longer period, you have to look into either the 1-month intensive nootropics consult, the 3.5-month intensive nootropics consult, or the 6-month intensive nootropics consult. You can get all that stuff at livecortex.com. Remember to use the coupon code 20 on some of those other products. Thanks so much for watching. Take heed to what I said. We'll talk to you next time.